What happens when a Catholic and a mystic get together? We're bridging the gap by having taboo conversations, the things most people are curious about but rarely have.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Divine Mysticism with Tasha and Renee. I am so excited to be here tonight. This is our third episode. We are really starting to get into some very interesting stuff here, Miss Tasha. So before we actually kick off our big topic, I'm going to talk a little bit about something that happened in my life a few days ago. So my daughter, my youngest daughter, who is 13, came up to me on Saturday evening and said, I just had the strangest experience and I need to talk to you because you told me that anytime I have weird experiences to come straight to you and let you know, because she has had them before. And I was like, okay, like what happened? And she goes, I'm laying on my bed, I'm laying on my stomach, and all of a sudden I hear what you hear in movies when angels show up. And I was like an angelic choir? And she was like, yes, it was like an angelic choir. And she was, I mean, Tasha, she is so serious about this. It is crazy, but she has
How old is
heard, she's 13. She'll be 14 on Halloween.
Oh my gosh, and my son just turned 14, and I swear he has all the things, and his friends were making fun of him. It must be something about this age.
So
That's wild.
I'm like, okay, so angelic choir. All right. I'm with you. All right. So I was like, tell me what side it came in on. I mean, I'm very meticulous with these details because I teach this stuff and I know this stuff. So angelic choir coming in on her left side, high pitch frequency. And then she said all of a sudden she saw an emanation of golden light show up in her peripheral. And I'm in her room. I am like head to toe
Which is so
goosebumps.
crazy because this episode, oh my gosh, that's
so beautiful. But so, and then it goes a step further because she has told me about dreams that she has had about this woman who is dressed in head to toe white, has a white veil, is blonde, long hair, bell sleeves, a white train that goes all the way back, like a path behind her. And how like she's encountered her multiple times and this woman speaks to her. And so I'm standing there and I was like, let me get some clarity here. Cause she was like, I'm wondering if it's the same thing. If this angel is the same woman that I'm seeing in my dreams, and I'm feeling, no, it's not. So I ask, Angel, are you here? I feel yes. I ask, what is your name? I hear Seraphina. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Seraphina. That's a seraphim angel. That's like of the highest order. Okay. Then I'm like, okay, let me just split this off for a minute. Let's ask. I said, what is your name? Who is in Caden's dreams? I heard Malachiah. Now, flash forward the next morning, nobody's up. I'm up by myself and I start Googling Malachiah. I spell it Melekaya. I find a couple of things, but nothing really. Caden wakes up. She goes, did you do any research? And I said, yeah, I said, I kind of have something, but I'm not really sure. The only thing that I could really connect with was Malachi. And she goes, well, you're spelling it wrong. And then it's like Malachiah. But it's Hebrew, Tasha. It's flippin' Hebrew. And I look it up and it breaks down the root language and what it means. And Malachi is messenger and angel in Hebrew. Aya is goddess.
crazy.
And I told her before I even heard the name, I said, because she said, is she also an angel? And I said, I get the feeling that she is angelic, but I also feel like she has some element of goddess energy. Like Seraphina is pure angel, but this one feels a little different. So I'm figuring it out. But like, holy cow, that was just like it was just crazy because it just opened up this, I don't know, Tasha, Saturday night before I went to sleep, I swear to you, my house was filled with angelic presence. I felt it. It was just dripping everywhere. This liquid light. It was like everywhere. It felt so beautiful, blissful. It felt like we were completely held in angelic presence.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. Okay, so now you tell me your story.
Mine wasn't as angelic. Jeez. Now I'm like, oh my God, mine's so good. And then
Well, we have other good stories though. So I do want to hear it.
So Vienna had, I think I said last week that she had started VBS. So every day they had, where they got to pick these different like prayer cards, but they were like blank. So like you color them. And so like this week we're talking about Saint Anne. And this to me just seems so like, of course this would happen, right? And so she comes home and I actually videoed like, why'd you pick these? And the first day, the Tuesday, she picks Saint Anne, which is not very popular, which I thought was so crazy. And then she gets to pick 2 every day. And she also picked Mary Magdalene. She's 5. She cannot read. She doesn't know who these people are. She said this one because it's the mom and the daughter, and it reminded her of me and her.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, God, yeah. And it's just, and then Mary Magdalene, which we almost named her Vienna Magdalene, but we ended up going Vienna Josephine. Then the next day she comes and she is like, oh, I picked this one because it reminds me of Dominic. Literally Saint Dominic.
Oh my God.
When I told her, I was like, that's Saint Dominic. She's like, oh, like she couldn't believe. She was like, no. And I'm like, no, it's literally says Dominic.
Oh my gosh.
Then the last day, she gives Saint Josephine.
Oh my gosh. Wait.
If this isn't like Catholic tarot, I don't know what is. Like, every day we pick like something so significant. Like it, what, and she doesn't know how to read. She said she picked this one because it looks like she has like a little crown.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And this little boy reminded her of Dominic. I'm like, yeah, that's literally isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh.
So then, on top of everything, so we're gonna talk about Saint Anne today. Wanted to make sure I knew how to pronounce things right? And so Jesus's grandfather's name is very strange. And I was like, I do not know how to pronounce this. Like, so of course, I don't even really use Google as much anymore. I just go to TikTok. I was like, okay, let me see how to, and I put his name and I started putting like pronunciation. And I had to call my sister. So like, you can't make this up. Like this whole story, I think the whole point of this whole thing is that there are signs and there are, you know, if you look hard enough, there are signs. And I could cry. The first video is this man.
Okay.
Know how many people are out there in the world. Deacon baptized my niece that we're going to talk about right before Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know he was on TikTok. To my sister, I go, it's the only video who's talking about the pronunciation. There's 3 different ways. He says Joaquin because that's the Spanish pronunciation. Then it's Joaquin, which is like the Americanized version. And then there's Yohikin. I think it's like the Hebrew version.
I was going to say, I think that I align with that one the most.
I find out this deacon got like 20,000 followers on TikTok. But he is the one who baptized my niece that we're going to talk about today. And I gave him the elevator pitch of this story I'm going to tell. He's the only Catholic person in the Catholic Church I've ever told an elevator pitch version of the miracle of and he baptized her.
When did you see this video for the first time?
30 minutes ago.
Okay, so
I got to listen right before, but like, no, I literally just looked this up 30 minutes ago. I was shaking. I called my sister. I was like, I'm going to send you this video right now. This is the only video on TikTok. This is literally the first video that popped up for me. She goes, it's got to be like a, she's trying to rationalize it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because she doesn't believe, she's a skeptic, right? Like, she doesn't believe, she believes, but she doesn't really, like, I mean, I feel like she believes, but like, at the same time, I was like, Nikki, no, well, it's because you're both in Orlando. And I'm like, but his thing doesn't say, like, I'm in Orlando. Like, even if, like, what are the odds he even did a video on it?
This was the first time you've ever encountered him. Right? Like, in a TikTok video?
Yeah, I've never seen it. I didn't know he had a TikTok.
So this is a big point, is the fact that you have encountered this person before years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He
I mean,
has
we see
over
him on
20,000.
Sundays. I don't even know he had a TikTok.
He has a lot of followers. He's
Yeah.
clearly popular and doing videos. He's clearly within range geographically. And this is the first time you encountered him, and it is relevant to what we're going to be talking about tonight.
And in the end of the video, he says this super sweet message that made me almost cry, where he says, like, but it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. And if you pronounce it wrong, it's that you're saying his name at all. And I felt like he was talking to me. Like, he made that video for me tonight to be like, it doesn't matter how I pronounce his name, because I was self-conscious about it. It was that I was even going to say his name at all.
Oh my
And I was
God.
like,
Chills.
you can't. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
So those are my two like miracle things of the week that I thought was real
exactly. So
fun.
this is what happens though, right? Like, you realize for the past few weeks, we've been talking a lot about spirituality, mysticism, Catholicism, like the saints, the mystics, the miracles, the power of faith, the power of connection, the power of accessing inner divinity and allowing your life to be led by it. That's where it starts opening up to extraordinary encounters. And like when we talk about like the orbs, ever since Saturday night, the orbs in my house have been off the hook. Like, I cannot even describe. I have had moments of like just sheer I don't know if I want to say like bliss, or just like it feels like your entire body is just elated in joy, but I feel like that's just the angels
Yeah.
bringing it, So for anybody who's listening, if you are on the fence, if you are fearful, if you are a doubter, if you're not sure, like, stick with us. Just stick with us. Join our Patreon. Big things are coming, guys.
Oh my gosh, I know.
So
I just think like this whole thing, like if I can have people see that like there is still like these like things in Catholicism that shows that it's all like they're there, like your saints are there, your angels are there, the guy, like whoever your guardian angel, or in mysticism you call them your guides, like there are these people who are there, and they are giving you signs. You really just have to like look for them. You really do.
I want to make a quick point that most people are like this, right? We have our blinders on, and and there's this attachment to our devices and to time and to this very physical world that we're all very attached to. And I am not like frowning upon the physical world, because without the physicality of this world, we wouldn't be able to experience it. But there's also like, we got to read between the lines, because there, like we talked about, there is a very, very high percentage of this world that is not being encountered and seen and witnessed. And like, I get it, but at the same time, there's a divine plan, there is divine order, there is divine timing. And that requires our patience, our faith, our love, and our commitment, our devotion to our path and to ourselves on that path, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Not easy, not easy,
I know.
but we got to get there. And and I tell you this, and I'm going to say that a lot. It's these kinds of conversations that I think really do open up the safety that people are looking to access to have these experiences. So let's
I
dive
think that's
in.
why people are, I think, coming back to Catholicism versus, maybe some of like the Protestant faiths, is that there's not this feeling of that there's just that like that connection with the other world and the other side and all those different things. I mean, Catholics, we talk a lot about like praying for people who haven't crossed over in purgatory. We're always talking about the afterlife, heaven, hell. There's a lot of Christians who don't even believe in hell. They don't believe in demons. They don't
Really?
like, but then they think that it's like weird that they believe in the devil, but they don't believe in demons. Like
Do they believe in
like
angels?
I don't even know if they believe in angels, because I think that they probably think that this is actually, so like my sister, not this one, my stepsister, you're gonna hate this actually. So I started sending her like some Christian rap music. just to be funny. But I said, "Oh my gosh," and she's like, "How's Orlando?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's great, but like, I'm doing this thing, and I don't know if you would really like love it." But this is what I get back. I told her how I was doing we're doing this podcast, and she was like, "Yeah." And I said how we're talking about the connections between like Catholicism and mysticism, and bringing magic back, like the magic of like religion. She was like, "Yeah, that is literally witchcraft, and you're playing with fire. Jesus is coming back, and you have time to turn around and repent. I've seen people turn their lives around, try a Christian church, and experience the Holy Spirit. I recommend getting delivered. Go to deliverance ministry to be delivered from the spirit. I'll be praying for your soul. I love you and I care about you. And you were blinded by Satan."
Oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that's
I
my favorite.
know. And I
Oh,
said, "All
man.
right, go ahead. But I love my faith." Like, to her, like, no lie. Like, she tells me all the time, Catholicism is the devil. It's witchcraft. I'm going to hell for being Catholic. For being Catholic. Like,
And
in her
she,
head, like, the candles, the idolatry, the incense, all of it's all witchcraft to her. And she's like, "Witchcraft is an abomination to the Lord. He condemns it." And, um, it was just like, "He healed me. He can heal you too. I know you want answers, but he can give them. I've seen miracles."
wow.
Being
Wow.
Catholic is a sin in her mind. That is what she has been indoctrinated. That's why I'm like, that's why I say like there's such this pendulum of like there are churches out there teaching people that Catholicism is actual works of the devil, witchcraft, demon worshiping. Like we're all going. I'm
I
going to
wonder,
hell.
yeah, well, I guess we'll pray for her.
Pray for her soul. I don't know.
Pray for
That's what she
herself.
says to me. But
But
anyways, so we
our
are going to
topic
talk about.
tonight is
Yeah,
really, I'm so excited because
I am.
there's such richness to this. There's such magic to this, but this woman is not in the Bible.
She's not in the Bible. And it's so funny because I remember, well, we'll talk about when we encountered Saint Anne together, but I didn't know who she was because she's not in the Bible.
Right? Nobody talks about
Like,
her.
you're like, "Who is she?" And I was like, "I don't know."
I
I
just
didn't
heard
know.
it and I was like, "Anne." You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God." But so
Yeah.
Tasha has a very close relationship. I just want to let our audience know Tasha's about to share some very interesting things. And you have a beautiful relationship with this saint. And
Yeah.
and so it's because of our different ways of translating.
Yeah.
I am like Anne of Nazareth, you're Saint Anne. I'll say like Mother Mary, you might say Blessed Mother or Virgin Mother. So we just
Yeah.
have like different ways of connecting with their names. But to me, it's like Anne of Nazareth, it's Saint Anne to you. So tell me about Saint Anne and your relationship with her. Who was she? What is going on with this woman?
Yeah. So I did a lot of research this weekend, listened to a couple like podcasts and, TikToks and stuff. So Saint Anne is obviously Jesus's grandmother. She is the patron saint um of mothers, infertility, uh, grandmothers. And from what I've gotten in different things is that there was this book called I had to write these down. I had to like literally write like Proto Evangelium of
Mhm.
James, which is Saint James, the cousin of Jesus. There was a certain gospel he wrote that wasn't put into the Bible. And there was actually a few popes that actually rejected this scripture. But it's funny because then later on another pope ended up using it to actually say who Saint Anne and Joachim were. And so I guess it's okay. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's like okay or not okay in the Catholic faith. But what ended up happening was Joachim and Anne got married and they went 20 years without having a child. Now, apparently in old Judaism, the Jewish faith is that they're pretty much kind of like, I don't know, like ostracized. Is that the word where like, you can't, like you're just
Yeah,
kind of like shunned, right? Because
cut off from society, right?
like their family, their friends, because to go that long and not have a child, especially for the men, is like an abomination, and pretty much you've been cursed by God. And
Oh my
so
God.
there's something wrong with you. Now, Joachim actually went out to this forest and he fasted for 40 days and prayed for this baby, but he's prayed that he would, whatever this baby was, girl or boy, it would be a servant of God. And so he said, just give me a baby and it'll be a servant of God. Mary also, or Anne also prayed constantly for this baby and said the same thing, like, God will do anything. And when he came back for the 40 days, they got pregnant and with Mary. Now, what is really interesting to me is that apparently, well, it's because they had offered their child to God at like 3 years old, it says, that they actually took Mary to the temple and like gave her to them. And I guess this wasn't really popular for girls to be at the temple and to learn and become holy. It was mostly men who were going to become, priests. But at 12 years old, she had to go back because I guess as soon as you become a woman, you can't be there for obvious reasons. So I apparently stayed there from when she was like very young. But you'd think he prayed for this baby for so long. Like 3 years feels like I don't know. I just feel like, man, you didn't want to do all that and you just like but they did. And so, but God told them that she's gonna be very special. So that's kind of like a little short synopsis of Saint Anne and kind of what ended up happening. But I thought was also really interesting when looking this up is that Saint Anne is actually in the Quran, not in the
Yes.
Bible, but in the Quran.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
It
So
is kind
yeah, it says that in the book of Quran or in the Quran, she is her name is Hannah. And it's kind of like the same story that she went so long without having a baby and that she, pretty much prayed and offered up her baby to God. It's in I'm going to probably horribly pronounce this, but it's like the Surah Al-Imran, chapters 3,
of.
335 to 337, or whatever, 35 to 37, whatever.
That's
But
why
it's
I didn't
interesting
either.
how in the Islam faith, they really do idolize Mary and Anne and more of the family, even so I think in their scripture than they do Mary, and Anne's not even in the Bible, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
It's very interesting. I did a very brief meditation the other night. So, as I said, Saturday evening, my house was lit the hell up. And so it really was like I'm telling you right now, I worked with angels for a while. And I've had like kind of an on off, like sometimes it's just like really strong. I just feel like they just want me to work with them. And then other things come in and they kind of drift around and drift away and whatever, and then they come back. But like it was so potent on Saturday. I have not felt it like that in a very long time. And so as I was falling asleep, I thought to myself, because I knew we were going to be talking about Anne tonight, and I knew that I don't know really anything about her. So I'm like, let me see if I can connect with her through spirit. I could not connect with her. I connected with her daughter, who connected me with her. And I
Did
saw,
you connect with Mary?
yeah. So, because I was like, Anne, okay, Anne, let me feel the essence of Anne, bring in the essence of Anne. And I was like, I'm hitting like this weird little roadblock. Like it's not super, like usually I can make a really quick connection. I could not. So
And I feel like
I
it would
was
be
like,
really hard to get to me, like they're like the royal family.
well, so it's like, how am I going to get to her? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I saw like, my eyes are closed and stuff. And I see this radiant child, this little girl. It's a little girl who is just surrounded with like this emanating light from behind her head. Um, and she was wearing white, and she was just very luminescent. But
Hmm.
she was little. She was probably around 3 or 4, to be completely honest. And that was how I connected with her. I saw her mother standing behind her, and I saw the father standing a little behind her. And the energy was so devotional. It like that's the only way I can really describe it. It was love, but it was the love that you feel when it's not like loving, a song that's on the radio. It's not like loving that coffee in the morning. I do love that. But it's such a devotional love. And that is what I want to emphasize, because we have this surface level existence here on this earth right now,
Mm-hmm.
because people are working so fast to get from A to B and return their messages and comment on their socials and, get to the next level in their careers and chase after their children and all of these things. And we spend so much time just going from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing that I just don't know how much devotion is actually carried into our lives, into what we're actually doing in our lives. And that was the message that I got from her, was like devotion and love of the highest degree. Like, can you
Yeah,
feel
people are. I
that?
mean, I think back then, everything was given up to God. Everything.
Like,
Yeah.
like, it's just, to me, God is love. But the devotion that she had, not based in fear, not based in like, if I don't devote myself here, I'm going to go to hell. I think that it was pure. It's the pure love that one has. And we can see this in other situations with Teresa of Avila. We can see it with Marguerite Perret. We can see it with Joan of Arc. Like, there are these women that just have this blissful, devotional, committed love that leads to miracles, because there is such an intense level of trust and faith and belief in that magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more of that magic.
Oh man. So, okay, so I'm going to tell the story of my niece Ruby J, who it was a long time for my sister to finally get pregnant. My sister went through 5 years of fertility treatment.
5 years of fertility treatments? That must have been a lot of,
Yeah.
I mean,
And what's crazy is as I was like jotting down and thinking through, I feel like everything's happens the way it's supposed to happen. But so anyway, so what happened with my sister is that she started doing, and of course, if you've dealt with infertility, you know that they won't even really start until you've been trying every single month for a year. That's usually kind of the how it goes. And then after that, then they'll do a series of different tests. They'll test you, they test the husband. He was fine, and they started doing some IUI treatments, which are very expensive. And um I think they did like 1 or 2. No, they did 1, and it didn't stick. So then they did what's called a dye test, and they do an ultrasound and they put this dye, and she said it was the worst experience ever. It was worse than childbirth.
oh,
And she was like about to pass out. I think she might have passed out. It's been a long time since she's had that, but she had 100%, like both sides, complete blockage. She had to have a procedure to get all the polyps out of her fallopian tubes, so that way they could, I don't know, I guess maybe do another round of IUI, but pretty much, or maybe they had to do the dye test first to get to the eggs. I don't remember. I don't know the
well,
order,
they
but
had to clear a
pretty
path
much,
either way.
yeah, either way, like they had to do these different things. So they ended up doing another round of IUI. They only did 2 rounds of IUI. And then my sister like wanted to fast track it. So they did a round of they were like, okay, we'll do IVF. And when she did IVF, she ended up having to change to another fertility facility. When she went to this next fertility facility, that's when she found out she had endometriosis. So now looking back, and I don't know how much news you watch in Orlando, but the fertility place she was going to here in Orlando was the one that put the black baby in the white couple.
I saw that on the news, girl. I must have been
Yeah.
quite surprised. I mean,
Oh my
I mean,
God.
honestly, it's a really sad situation because I can't imagine what that must have been like when she had
No.
finally reached the delivery room and she's having her baby. Oh my gosh.
It was so it's like weird, like why would you waste 2 years? Because mind you, I said that in 2 seconds, but that was actually like 2.5 years. Like
Wow.
it was like 2 years. Like
That's a
and
lot
then
of
it was like,
stress.
another happy by the time she gets to, whatever. So I'm like, well, why did they find out? Like, why did you do certain fertility treatments and then have to do the dye test and then you had to get the procedure and then you had to go to a whole nother place to even find out you had endometriosis. Like, why wouldn't they find that out from the beginning? Like, maybe it would have been different if she went to this other place, but she went because of her husband's company paid for fertility treatments at this place, but she had to drive to Tampa from Orlando, which was not
Well, that
fun.
place is closed now. I just want to let our audience know the place that was
It's
doing
closed.
botched,
Yeah, she
IVF.
still gets all the emails and everything, and so she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank gosh I didn't do that."
Mhm.
But anyways, during all this, we go to St. Augustine on a family vacation, and I have another story for another day about St. Augustine and the baby miracles that happen there. But me and my husband ended up getting pregnant with our daughter. Now, if you know anyone who's had years of infertility, the worst thing is having to go tell the person that you're pregnant
Yes.
because you're dreading it. And obviously, we were going to announce it at Christmas, but I had to tell my sister first to like mentally prepare her because I just wanted her to be ready. And she was so happy for me, but like, it's still kind of like because we had my son, he was, I think, almost 8 at this time, but we had tried, once he hit 2, we tried to have another baby because he wanted a sibling for about 4 years, and we had 4 miscarriages. And we finally were like, you know what, we're gonna stop. Like he's 8, like we're about to have our life back. Like we're just a one kid family. That's what we're gonna be. And then we got pregnant. I had to tell my sister. So had my daughter during COVID, skinall delivery when the baby's born. Anna Josephine. We asked my sister to be the godmother, but I said there's one caveat: you have to get your sacraments.
Oh,
And
Tasha.
she was like, "All right." And I was like, "Listen, it's really easy. You just have to go there like once a week. And like, it's just like, it's called RCIA. You're just gonna go there once a week. You're gonna learn about, Jesus and everything. And you have to go to, church on Sundays during the time." But what I didn't tell her was that it's 9 months.
Oh, God.
So then, like, after she's like kind of in it, she's like, "You didn't tell me it was 9 months." Now, mind you, at this point in time, my sister is very angry with God, I think. Like, not really, but like, she's doing the praying. She's like, okay, I'll get these sacraments. Like, I'm like doing everything. Like, and she's also working a full-time job, also working in the evenings at like Chili's just to make money to pay for the fertility treatment she's doing. And now on top of it, she's adding another thing on top of all of it, on top of being on all this medication, makes her feel horrible. Like, what a freaking saint for her, everything she's doing. And my sister's birthday is actually, which makes it even more interesting, is that her birthday is September 8th, which is the feast day for the Virgin Mary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Is the,
But
yeah.
you're telling this story so far, and all I'm hearing is devotion, love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like the devotion and the love that she had to do this, for your daughter, for herself, to work the
Yeah.
extra
And she
job
was
to pay
not
for her
going in, she
treatment.
probably went in it the same way you'd go into it. Like, I don't want to do this. Do I really have to do this? Like, isn't there another way? Like, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
like, if you want to be the
Mm.
godmother, you have to be a Catholic. Like, you have to have your sacraments. I'm like, just what you do. No, I was like, well, if you want, like, you can't be a godmother if you're not going to be a godmother. But anyway, so I go to she got baptized at St. Thomas Aquinas in Kissimmee. And so I have, when you first go in to this, becoming a catechumen, I have to go there and we do like a whole thing where it's like kind of like a dedication and stand behind her and I put my hand on her shoulder and everything. And so they get through the homily, and we get through the whole parts of me saying I'm her sponsor, which pretty much is just the adult version of being the godparent. And after the homily, all the catechumens every Sunday leave the church and they go to their little room and they discuss the homily and learn more about like the Bible and Jesus and everything. So I'm in this church by myself, and I'm like praying and I'm like, please, if she does this, just give her a baby. Please. Like, oh my God, if she does, please. And I just lose it. Like, this is the first time I'm in church since my daughter was born, and I'm embarrassed crying, like ugly crying,
Well,
hyperventilating. I don't know why. To this day, it was just like something just like came
the
over me, like
spirit, I think,
emotionally.
yeah, the spirit
And
moved
I
you.
don't cry. Like, I'm not a crier. And I'm like, like, people next to me are like, are you okay? And I'm like, it was embarrassing.
But I
So
think that
embarrassing.
I feel that you were having a divine spiritual experience
Yeah.
because
100%. Like, I was
I
like,
have
Frank's like,
had
are you
that.
okay? And I'm like, I lost it in there. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I bared my soul. I apologize because, mind you, I'm like still hormonal. I'm not sleeping because I have an infant. I was
Mm.
at this time, very mean to my husband because I was like, I mean, and he's sleeping fine. And I'm like, I'm going to kill him. And I felt so much guilt for like being horrible to him. And here I am, like, I had this baby, like, it was so many emotions. And there was something was like, all right, you're gonna okay. And I feel like now, just saying this now, I feel like whatever, like Joaquin and Anne at that point where God was like, all right, I'll give you this baby. Like, I feel like that was like the moment I had where I was like, just like help her, please. Like, and then a couple like weeks, I think weeks or a couple months later, she's like, I just don't think I can do this. I just don't think I can do this. Like, this is, I mean, my schedule and the work, and like, I feel horrible. And I'm like, Nikki, you got to do this. Like, I was like, I'm telling you, God is going to give you a baby if you do this. Mind you, I think that's probably the worst thing I could have ever said, because if anyone goes through fertility, to like hold a action or a thing over someone's like ability to have a baby is just completely wrong. And I don't even know why I said it to this day, but I was just like, but I told her, I was like, I just know you're gonna do this. And he's gonna give you this baby. I know it it was, and I was like, that I know, because I always have that what is it, Claire
Like
cognizant, right?
cognizance, yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I there's just things that I just know. It's like, I just know it. I see her. And I like, it's just, I knew it was gonna be a girl. Like, I was like, it's gonna happen. And so mm, she has to get baptized, right? But right before she gets baptized, her doctor, they've done now, I think, 1 or 2 rounds of IVF, and didn't work. They said, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to shut your reproductive system down. We're going to put your body into, I guess, like menopause, so to speak. I think Kourtney Kardashian did this in order to get pregnant. And she was very upset about it because again, a lot on her body. Mind you, she's working 2 jobs. She's going to these RCA things. We had to go to Mary Queen of the Universe. Like, she's just like, she's just like going through it. And she's just getting more like, ugh. But she's starting to soften with the whole church thing. Like, she's starting to like the people she's with, and she's starting to build a connection with them, and she's really starting to like them. And I think those people really got her mentally through that, because even if she didn't do it, like, she still would have had all that stuff. I think she mentally would not have been able to get through it as much without having those like once a week where she could just kind of forget everything and just be with these people. And by the time she got baptized, like, she loved these people. Like, she was like, oh my God, like, she just like, they're all crying together and everything. And I think it was really beautiful. But she had to completely shut her reproductive system down right before.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And so she got baptized, and I tell her, I'm like, you're like the Virgin Mary. I'm like, because you got baptized and you actually could not have a child, like, actively. Like, you didn't have, like, it is like God, you got your, like, a new you, a new womb. Like, it is like you completely have been purified. So, She go to Easter Vigil, she gets baptized, everything, and then they, right after, start her back up again. And she doesn't tell anyone that she goes through her third round of IVF. I'll never forget, we were at my son's birthday, which was just yesterday, but this time, whatever years ago. And she was like not drinking, but she was on medication. She's like, oh, well, I'm going to get it soon and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then like 2 or 3 weeks later, she comes to my house and she's like videoing me, and my daughter and my son come out in shirts that say like big cousin. And I just start crying. I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. I just start crying. So she finally gets pregnant. Ruby was due, I think like March 8th, somewhere around there. But February 21st, I get a call first thing in the morning that her water broke. So she's like 3 weeks early, right? And I'm like, what? Like, I have a flat tire. I had a call, shout out Kendall Auto Parts in Melbourne. So, because I was like, listen, like, I need a tire, like, stat. Like, my sister's in labor. Yeah, so they got me right in. I get to Orlando by like 10 o'clock because I'm like speeding and everything. I had to go to Winnie Palmer. I get there, we got all walked in, and I'm sitting there and I start looking up the horoscope. And I'm like, okay, what's she gonna be like? You know, February 21st. And I'm reading it. I'm like, I like it. This isn't right.
Do-over.
No. This is not. No. This cannot be. And I'm like, no.
Is that like a tarot card reshuffle?
Yeah. I was like, what's tomorrow? And I'm like reading it. I'm like, yeah. That's her. That's gonna be her for sure. And so I was like, and I was like, well, and I'm starting looking at the date, like important things that happen on February 22nd, 222. I'm like, angel number, check. Horoscope, check. And then I look and it's like Ash Wednesday. And I was like, check. Yeah. And I was like,
Oh my God.
Nikki, I'm so sorry to break it to you, but you ain't having this baby today. And she's like, what? I'm like, you're having this baby tomorrow. She's like, no. And she's like, I've been here since like 8 a.m. Like, no. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're having this baby tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow's Ash Wednesday. It's 222. And I've already read the horoscope. That is going to be Ruby. She's going to be born tomorrow. And she's like, not happy. She's like, what? This is insane.
You understand?
Yeah. I was like, okay. So later that evening, where I'm like starting to get bored, starting to get tired, and I'm sitting there in this hospital room and I'm looking at my phone, and my sister's on the little bounce ball thing and her husband's sitting in the man recliner chair thingy and he's on his phone, and I look and there's just this like glowing light like behind her. And I'm like, what is that? No, I don't know. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, maybe I looked at the light and, like, you know how, like, when you look at a light and then you look somewhere else, like, the light, like, you can still see it in your, like,
Yes.
mind, like, the whatever happens. My husband's an optician. I should know the signs of this, but I don't. And so I look to the right and there's no light, and I look back and it's still there. And then I look to him and I'm like, well, I'm not going to say anything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like, it's like an angel. Like, there's just like an angel over her. And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything because they're not going to believe me. And if they don't see it, then I know I'm going crazy. But I'm like, oh, and I text you. And I'm like, well, first I was like, I got to get out of here. I was like, I think I'm really tired. I got to go to bed. Like, I think it's going to be a long night. She wasn't effacing. She wasn't dilating. Nothing was happening.
Oh my God.
So they're like, it's going to be a while. And I'm like, told you have this baby tomorrow. I was like, I'm going to go to bed. So I went to her house. And I think I was like texting you. I'm like, I just seen this thing. And I don't know if I'm crazy. And I remember you saying, it was a maternal figure. And I remember telling you, like, I was like, that was not my mom. That was not my mom. My mom was not an angel. I was like, I love her, but that was not my mom. I can tell you right now. But I remember being like, it was like big, and it was like she had like kind of like, I don't know, it was like draped. And it just never dawned on me until later that it could have been like Mary or maybe Anne.
I really truly feel that it was Mary. Like, I truly, 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 in my heart of hearts, feel her presence. There is a
Yeah, well,
different.
Mary is the patron saint of labor, and my
My
sister's
Yeah, I didn't
in
even know
labor.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I always think it's very interesting how there are things that, like, I literally just don't know, and then I'm like, come out with the answer for this. It's like, "Oh, no, it's this," and then the people are like, "Oh, but that's actually, like, real." Like, you're not like, I'm not guessing. If I'm channeling it in, but I didn't know that information prior, you know? So, I truly, it was definitely a maternal figure, but it was Mother Mary, and I feel like
yeah.
she was holding her, so that she could deliver this baby safely, after everything that her body had gone through and everything that she went through, body, mind, heart, and spirit. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
there's just
she
so
went through
much.
hell of that labor. Don't wish that on my worst enemy because ended up becoming 100% a face, not dilating. So, like, the baby was just, like, hitting her, and she wasn't opening, like, at all.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
at all, and so
how
at,
did this
like,
baby
midnight,
come
he called me, he was like, "You need to come back here, it's getting
out?
bad, you need to get here." And they were
We're
like,
both holding
"Listen,
our
like,
face.
we're"
Mm.
she was 100% of face, pushing on her cervix, and, like, she was not opening up. It was crazy. It was
So did she deliver, or did they have to do, like, a C-section or
so,
anything?
yeah, the next day she ended up delivering, but it was, like, I don't even know what time she was born. I should know because I should have her whole freaking birth chart, but I don't.
We should do our
But
birth
yeah,
chart.
um, all that to say, then the next day she was like, "Well, I need my ashes." Like, I mean, it's my first Ash Wednesday, and I was like, "Baby girl, those are your ashes because the ashes on you get on Ash Wednesday are from Palm Sunday of the previous Easter. So that way every Easter is connected." And so, like, I was like, "Those are your ashes. Like, that is your gift." Like, it's one of those things that, like, it's one thing if it's like one instance, but all of those different things, just you can't explain it. And to even add on top of that, when we had our interaction and with Saint Anne that we're going to talk about, when I went back, I found out that when she told me she was pregnant was the Saint Anne novena.
Oh
And
my
she
god.
doesn't remember like the timeline, but it might have been on the first day of Saint Anne novena that she actually found out the baby was like a baby. And like I'm like, you can't make up all those dates. You can't say, okay, you're not gonna be able to actually have a baby and you're gonna have your womb completely, like
Shut down.
blessed. Yeah, it's completely shut down. Then you find out you're pregnant during Saint Anne Novena. You tell me during Saint Anne Novena. Then you go into labor 3 weeks early on 222, which is Ash Wednesday. Your birthday's on the Virgin Mary's feast day. I see the Virgin Mary literally in front of my eyes. Like, all of those things together, like, it's one thing is like, "Oh, this is a coincidence, this is a coincidence, this is a coincidence," and then I go to look up just to say pronounce her husband's name, and the person who baptized her is the person whose video I'm seeing. How many deacons are there in the world? And this is a 50-something-year-old man on TikTok. That's
Right.
pretty rare.
Yeah.
That's not really, like,
But
a
not
real,
just
like
that, his message is all about what you needed to hear before we got here tonight.
yeah. Like, don't worry about how you're pronouncing it. That's it. Like, the fact that you're just saying his name is everything. Like, oh my gosh. Like, all of it is so spiritual. And I think that if more people looked at these certain things, that people would realize there's a lot more synchronicities and connections to the divine, to, these different things. Every time someone passes away, first I look up, well, what's their saint day? What saint is that of that day? Like, I love that kind of like synergy, and it's just wild to think like, no, there's no other explanation while all of those things have happened the way that they did.
I
Yeah.
think that is a miraculous story, and I hope that other people hear this and I hope that they feel inspired. I hope that they feel motivated. I hope that they feel that devotion in their heart, not necessarily to jump into like a religion or a spiritual path, but to just open their mind and their heart to what's possible. And I think that's where it starts, is like anything's possible. You have to start really just believing that anything is possible for you, and then starting to make these connections. You did not know, I think, even like who you were talking to, right? Like you're praying, you're just talking, and she's
Yeah,
hearing
no,
you.
I had no idea. And then, I mean, all the things, it's just like, and I told my sister, I'm like, you literally had to go through RCA, which is 9 months, which is how long someone's pregnant for. They have a baby. Like, it's just so many things that was, I think, so beautiful about like the story of that. And it wasn't even really until we had the Reiki session, which you got to tell the story about, but that was when I was like, oh, wait,
Sure. I
was it
told you.
her? Or like, and then I started looking back in the days. Well, what happened was then I think because it was a couple months later, and in that July, it was the St. Anne Novena, and I got the notification that it was 1 year since found out that Ruby, that's how I got told, was that was like 1 year since I found out that my sister was going to have her. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the St. Anne Novena. Oh my God. And I'm saying to my sister, like, oh my God, you're never going to guess. Because I told her about the St. Anne thing. So you had to tell about the St. Anne thing. Because I didn't hear it, but
Well, I
we
don't remember
worked
what
together,
happened
and
because
I went in to, help you with marketing. And then, you know,
I just remember. So you might have to fill in some of these gaps, because so I remember you coming to the shop, and I remember having my
Mhm.
hands on you. I don't
Yeah.
remember like what was actually happening, where it was like I have to put my hands on, but I know the feeling of I have to put my hands on you.
Yeah. You're like, can I put my hands on you? And I was like,
Like,
what are you going to do? Because
right,
I'm
but
like
that's
Catholic. I'm like, what? What are you going to do? Is this allowed? I don't know.
but I think
And I'm like,
I had it on
whatever.
your
Yes,
heart.
you can put your hands on me. What are you gonna do? What are we doing?
I remember you were standing there, and I put one hand on your heart and the other hand on the back of your heart. So you were like perpendicular to me. And so you're in
Yeah.
front of me, and I have both of my hands on you. And okay, maybe this is starting to come back, and fill in the gaps where I might miss. Just had like this really overwhelming feeling of a spiritual presence, and felt like you had a female guide who was coming in.
Yep,
And
I
then
remember. Mhm.
I heard the name Anne. Because I think you asked,
Yeah.
like, well, who is it? Can you tell me who it is? And I was like, I don't
Yeah, because
know.
you said it was like a mother. Like a mother. I
And
remember
then
that. And I was like, well, like who? Because I was like, oh, is it my mom?
no, it wasn't your
And
mom
you're like,
then.
no.
But I heard the name Anne, and I remember that distinctly. And
Well, you
I
said
wanted to
Saint
say,
Anne. You're like, I'm hearing Saint Anne. Like, do you know who that
oh,
is? And I was like, no.
because I didn't know who that was. And that's the thing with mediumship. Anybody who is interested in mediumship, or they feel they may be a medium, I just want to just put this out there. You have to just let it flow. You cannot intervene with trying to understand the message, because that's your ego being like, wait, what? Wait, let me understand this. Wait, what about this? Wait, blah, blah, blah. Like, because I did not know there was even a Saint Anne. I'm sure there's a saint
Yeah.
everything,
I
but
didn't
like
know
I
there was
did
a
not
Saint
know.
Anne. I was like, I don't know who that is.
So I have my hands on you. It feels like this mother energy comes in. I hear Saint Anne, but I remember you saying something like, oh my God, I am covered in like goosebumps head. Like, I think we both got goosebumps head to
Yeah, I
toe
was
or
like,
something like that. It
well, you
was
said to me that she was the mother guide of mine since my real mom wasn't around. And you didn't know about my mom. So it wasn't like I don't really talk about my mom,
right.
really. So like it's not like you didn't like it's not like you knew that my mom was not around, that my mom was an alcoholic and a drug addict. I know you knew that my mom passed away, but you didn't know she wasn't a part of my life. And
Correct.
that's when I got goosebumps. And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Which is
She,
interesting because what gave me goosebumps about it was that even though my mom wasn't a drug addict and an alcoholic and was not there ever really, I never felt how I feel like I hear a lot of people who happens them. I never felt abandoned, and I never felt like I missed having a mom, or like there was something missing or whatever. Like I don't like Mother's Day because obviously like I'm like, oh, everyone's like, ugh, you know, but like, I never, other than that, like, I never like felt like, oh my God, my life is so horrible because my mom doesn't love me, you know.
Right.
She did. I mean, she did. I think in her own way, but like she really did not the way that not the way I love like Vienna or like
Well,
a
I
normal
don't
mom.
think
No.
you didn't feel the kind of love that, most like that I think our children feel from us. And I
Yeah.
definitely didn't feel that. I don't feel that from my mom either. But I can tell you that I do feel completely abandoned by like my mother. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
saying I don't feel that sense of abandonment. I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think
When
that
there's a
because
lot of people that do, and when you said that, that's what gave me goosebumps. Is I was like, you're like like she's been the mother for you your whole life or whatever you kind of said, and I was like, my God, is that why I don't feel that those abandonment that I feel when mom is, because I grew up with a single dad. Like my mom wasn't even around. Like, I mean, I remember the one time I invited her to come. She said she was going to come to a field trip, and she just no showed. I'm like, no, she's gonna come. She's gonna come, and then she didn't. And then I was like, "Ugh, that's fucking bad." And then I was like,
right. Yeah. But
never
I'll tell you
again.
this,
Like,
Anne
but yeah, I
Anne and
never felt
Mary.
that. Like, yeah, like, and I feel bad that there's people who have moms and still feel that way, but I just never did.
But remember episode 1, we talk about the tinnitus, not tinnitus, right? That you're ringing, that is not really
Yeah,
like, you didn't need the tubes in your ears. And I had
yeah,
said that, I really feel a very strong angelic presence around you, especially when you were little. And Anne and Mary are like, if there are women that are associated with angels, it is Anne, it is Mary, it is Mary Magdalene. Like, these women are the most angelic women to have ever walked this planet,
yeah,
in my opinion. So I feel like if you are working with any of them, you are working with the angels. And if you are working with
yeah,
the angels, you are working with them in some way. They are fashioning something, they are intervening in some way. And so there's a lot of interconnectedness there. So um such beautiful stories. Such beautiful stories. Thank you so much for sharing.
yeah, definitely. I hope. I mean, if anyone, I hope someone gets something out of it. Especially, for infertility is hard, but
Yes. And
is
and so like the
right.
message I feel is the devotion. So we had said like if there was a message from Anne tonight, we could channel that through. And I do feel like that already kind of got channeled through when you were telling the story about Ruby and your sister and all of these things. Like my heart just really feels like her message to all of us, anybody who's listening, humanity as a whole, like I feel like she wants you to root into the earth, like find where you belong and anchor in and establish a devotion of yourself and a devotion to your divine light. Um, God is not outside of you, it is within you. It is connected to everything that you see, everything you touch, and everything that is like everything that you don't see and touch. Like it's all interwoven, but it's all interwoven through you. But you have to be like rooted to appreciate it, to get something out of it. You can't be untethered. And so
Yeah,
this is the issue, is this untethering, this distance, this drifting, this pulling away and disconnection and detachment of the true authentic self and spirit, the soul. The soul is completely tethered into the divine, is connected into the heart and the inner workings of God. And so devote to yourself, devote to that wisdom, devote to that love, make a commitment to something that feels solid in your body. Stop with this surface level, flimsy, wobbly, like, you know, egoic attachment.
yeah. I feel
Ego-
like that is so prominent because I feel like that is sometimes where those differences happen. Is that as soon as my sister kind of let go, is when I think it just started working like through her. And every time I'm always like, okay, like just let it be to God. Just what's meant to be will be, and like it'll happen eventually if it's
Yep.
meant to.
Yep. You
Yeah.
got to let it go. You have to detach, give it up to a higher power and have faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Great episode, Tasha. I love
Yeah.
you about this. I loved hearing about that story and also the one where we get to share that experience together.
I know. It was fun. I thought was well, actually we didn't even say how when we were done, I looked it up and I remember being to you like, who
Oh, that's
who
right.
told you to say that? I'm like, do you know? And I remember telling you like, do you know no, no, no. And I'm like, and I remember being like, Saint Anne is Jesus's grandmother. And you
I
were like,
did.
like,
Yeah.
you're like, and you said, I remember you telling me that that was your first saint. Like you never connected with a saint before.
Just Saint
So,
Teresa. I was born on October 3rd. I was born during Saint Teresa's feast day. My middle name is Teresa. Grew up in Saint Teresa's parish. Like, oh my God, roses and Saint
see
Teresa
all
all
the
over.
connections. That's how it works. It's always
Yeah.
a connection.
Yep. But yeah, like didn't know she was a saint. Didn't know Jesus's grandmother was named Anne. I didn't know any of that
Because she's not in the
information.
Bible.
She's
She's in the
not in the Bible.
Quran.
So it's just kind of,
Yeah.
it's wild, but that's also why we have these conversations. It's because spirit speaks through us, and if
Yeah.
you open your heart and your mind to receive, it's again, discernment, be
Yeah.
cautious. I think that people who are opening up should definitely receive that training from somebody who knows what they're doing and somebody who's very trustworthy to lead and guide and support in that way. But spirit is everywhere and it wants to speak, it wants to be known. And so what are we going to be talking about next week, Tasha?
Your
I
favorite.
know, I'm so
Mary
excited.
Magdalene.
Mary Magdalene and the 7 egoic powers, the 7 demons,
Seven demons.
oh my gosh.
So many sevens. There's a lot of sevens.
Yeah.
And, we're going to kind of talk about like, was Mary Magdalene more than just the apostles to the apostles? Was she more with Jesus and, some of the traditions that were back then that just really don't add up to what the Catholic Church has kind of said. There's a lot of things that, as traditions don't really math ain't mathin'. So we're
Oh,
gonna
I
talk about
agree.
Mary Magdalene.
It's going to be
And
a
you're
really
gonna
fun.
because you know way more about Mary Magdalene, especially her after Jesus than I did, than I
I
do.
became
I would say like
obsessed.
I know huh?
I became obsessed. I
I
read Mary
know. I mean, you're on your
Magdalene.
4th time reading Mary Magdalene Revealed. I'm like, geez. So I
It
think it's
just
gonna be a good one.
it lifts me up in a way that I can tell you right now, I read it at the end of 2022. It changed my life in a way that I cannot describe. It was the medicine that my soul needed to get back
It was
on
great.
board with with things that I had it's not like I let go of Jesus and I was like, all right, Jesus, get over here. I don't want to deal with you. No, it's not like that. It's like she restored something within me that was broken for a really long time.
Yeah, so it'll be next week. And yeah, so make sure also like join our Patreon. We just got that put up and there's a couple different tiers of different options. We're gonna have every week we're gonna have a bonus episode and you can go in and it has an astrology and reflection and what we're gonna kind of go over is the astrology going on that week and then also any, Catholic feast days, holidays, and mystical pagan holidays, all the different things coming up. So yeah, that's kind of like our little Patreon group that we're making and we have a couple different like communities in there and then we will have containers and especially as things come along with like Advent and Halloween and there'll be
I was
some
gonna
like
say,
fun
I think by like
meetings
September,
and
October,
gatherings. Yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna
we're
also
getting
do like monthly meetings with like Renee where if you want to like ask her like psychic-y questions and
there
you
will be
know y-
mediumship, there will be psychic channeling, there will be very interesting, fun things. Not as like we're gonna entertain you, as like we're gonna have a really, really interesting experience in our world, and
yeah,
it's going to change how you see things. Not
yeah, we'll
because we
hopefully
want.
if we have some people we'll do one at the end of this month and if not then we'll do it in August.
Absolutely. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
it'll be
So,
fun.
so wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah. Yes. I know.
So
Well, I'll
let's
see you
see.
next week. I mean, we're gonna chat after this, but
Yes.
we'll
All right,
see each
everyone.
other next week on here. So, all right. Well, bye.
Bye.